It's week 11. 3 boats have finished, 3 more are due on Friday. And yet, with the end in sight, it's still stress, exhaustion, broken boats and vicious weather that are taking their toll. For some, the final miles to the finish are proving to be the hardest. Sébastien Simon had had plenty of time to accept third place. Since rounding Cape Horn, Simon had been sailing his own race, 2,000 miles ahead of the next boat, 700 miles behind the leaders. Untroubled by close competition, he'd had time to think, and as he approached the finishing line, he had one goal in mind.
I'm looking forward to cross the finish line for sure. I spent a few days to just think about the finish line, so I'm looking forward to cross this line. It's going to be a really great moment, probably really emotional, I don't know. I had 2 motivations. The first one was to finish the Vendée Globe, and the second one, the ultimate one, was to win one day the Vendée Globe. So after this third place, I hope so, I not finished. I have only one goal for 2028, is to prepare a new project to win the Vendée Globe.
He'd also had plenty of time to think about what might have been had he not have broken a foil. But as he crossed the finishing line to take third place and complete the podium, it was clear what this meant to him. And rightly so. Simon had sailed a superb race. And while some in the know were suggesting he could be one to watch out for, few had him down for this kind of performance. But from just a few days into the race, it was clear that he's a skipper to be reckoned with. And his arch rivals didn't hold back in showing their delight for him as he arrived. The massive 2,000-mile gap behind him also gave the Finnish port Les Sables d'Olonne a bit of a breather before the next set of celebrations got underway. From 4th place through to 13th, the approach to the finish was proving to be extremely stressful. The battle between Sam Goodchild and Jérémie Beyou had been a needle match all the way from Cape Horn for over 6,000 miles. For 20 days they were barely out of sight of each other as they threaded their way north, leaving the rest of the fleet behind. But both skippers knew as they approached the Azores that the weather was going to throw a wild card into their private match race. With winds of 50 knots or more and 7-metre seas, a big storm was gathering behind. So while their private race was one thing, getting to the finish unscathed was quite another. And when the storm struck, Jérémie Beyou made it clear just how stressful this stage was.
Ça y est, c'est rentré à entre 40 et 55 nœuds là tout à l'heure. Avec des montagnes de vagues. Oh putain. Oh, on essaie que le bateau parte pas trop vite dans les vagues, sinon ça se termine mal au fond. Faut pas qu'il y ait plus là. Je pense qu'il y a pour une dizaine d'heures comme ça. Je pense que je suis dans le plus fort là, j'espère que je suis dans le plus fort. Parce que s'il y a plus fort que ça, ça va être compliqué. Faut pas abîmer le bateau quoi, faut que le matériel tienne là. Bon la météo ce matin c'est de pire en pire pour la suite donc là on va aller taper le centre de la DEP et empanner. Mais la DEP elle se décale plus que prévu dans l'est. Encore. Faut pas qu'on se retrouve près de l'autre côté quoi. Ouais c'est chaud quoi. À la rigueur c'est mieux la nuit parce que la nuit tu vois pas les vagues au moins.
Sam Goodchild knew the risks too and had spoken of how tricky it was to strike the right balance between racing hard and protecting the boat. But on the 20th of January, and with less than 1,200 miles to go, he was dealt a cruel blow.
Hello everyone, it's Sam. Not some great news. So we were just gone past the worst of the wind and had a little of a whoop with the pilot down a wave. And so the mainsail went from one side to the other and unfortunately exploded the mainsail in two pieces. So we've dropped the mainsail. And there's maybe repairs possible, but there's a bit too much wind at the moment. We've still got 35 knots. So I've got two jibs out and I'm trying to get east to get out of the northerly winds that are coming. And maybe try and attempt to repair. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean the Vendée Globe's over, but it's definitely not going to be the same end to the race as I hoped. So this is it, ripped in half. There's the bottom bit and the top bit, and all the way to the back. And so I'm just gluing the two pieces together, which isn't structural, but it'll just hold the two bits together to have one piece to work on. So we've got a reinforcing plate on the luff of the sail. So that should take the load on the luff. Got the patches down the middle, and then I've now got a reinforcing plate on the back of the sail, which will take the load of the leap. So that we've got bolts that go through the top half of the sail, the bottom half of the sail, and both patches are put on. So all four layers that holds the whole lot together. The big rip is pretty much repaired. We're just repairing the small ones now, so they don't get any bigger. Getting the boom slowly back on the sail slowly back on the boom. And I think tomorrow morning we should be ready to hoist. I got a bit of tidying up to do. The boat's a complete mess. We should be ready to hoist and try it out, see how it goes. Not going to cry victory just yet, but a little one, just a little one. Got to get to Le Sable, but it feels good. Isn't that beautiful?
Goodchild wasn't alone in suffering a major breakage. 4 days earlier, 10th placed Boris Herrmann reported damage to Meilhat.
Something hit my port foil and the port foil is broken. But it didn't rip off, so I have to cut it off, which will not be easy. I have the tools here, trying to do my best. That's a difficult job. Cut a foil like that in the boatyard takes many hours, so doing it out here hanging over the side with a belt and harness and a battery grinder that has only small discs. It seems like an impossible task, but I will try the impossible as always.
Tackling the impossible and succeeding is a large part of this race. In the event, he didn't cut it off. Concerned about getting partway through the job and failing, he decided to brace the foil instead.
So this is how the foil is attached now. There's 3 ropes going down there, all the way to the foil. Little purchase system going all the way to the foil.
Meanwhile, the next wave of finishers approaching Les Sables d'Olonne was Paul Meilhat on Biotherm and Nicolas Lunven on Holcim PRB. Like several others, Meilhat had had problems with his J2 stay.
En tête de main de Biotherm. J'ai réussi. Voilà, j'ai repassé la drisse. Un lashing. Oh, ça bouge beaucoup encore. Là, je me suis bloqué contre le mât avec un lashing. Voilà, je suis content, je redescends vite. Bon, prêt de monter dans le mât, j'ai passé un été un peu bricolé en raboutant des câbles et des estrapes. Et du coup, voilà, mon nouvel été. Ah. Ce sera quand même mieux pour affronter les dépressions de la fin. Voilà. Bon, bah, je suis bien crevé. Et c'est cool. J'ai un été.
Having dealt with that, he then discovered a crack.
J'ai checké le bateau et là on est dans la soute avant, on est dans la crash box. Il y a une petite fissure. Voilà, ça commence de là. Hop. Ça va jusqu'à la cloison, entre les 2 cloisons. Donc c'est pas très grave, mais on va réparer. Bon. Donc j'ai fini la strat et je vous montre le résultat. Et c'est terminé.
There were plenty of breakages elsewhere in the fleet too, and plenty of the dreaded mast climbs.
C'est fini. Regardez donc. Là, ça risque pas de s'envoler. J'ai eu l'axe, j'ai remis l'axe. Évidemment, j'avais pas pris de scotch. J'avais dit, n'oublie pas le scotch, n'oublie pas le scotch. Eh ben, je regarde dans mon sac, j'avais pas pris le scotch. Donc là, j'ai fait avec du bout. Donc voilà le détail de l'affaire. Et maintenant, il n'y a plus qu'à redescendre parce que là, ça commence à être... Là, je me mets sur les jambes parce que ça coupe la circulation. Ah ouais, et puis en plus de ça, il commence à y avoir des grains, donc il est temps d'entrer à la maison. Hein.
Wouhou! Ça y est, j'ai réussi à récupérer la pièce, je suis en haut du mât. Ça bouge pas mal. Regardez ça. 28 mètres de hauteur, c'est un truc de fou. La mer est magnifique. C'est à la fois effrayant et à la fois trop beau. Mais je vais vite redescendre. Allez. Écoute, c'était cette pièce qui s'était cassée. Donc je suis allée la chercher en tête de mât à la drisse tout en haut qui va moins servir. Et je l'ai réinstallée là. Donc j'ai refait le loop. Je fais plein de nœuds parce que j'avais un peu trop de gouttes. Puis même plus que pas assez. Donc voilà. Et maintenant je vais pouvoir redescendre.
Meanwhile, the record for the most climbs must go to Jinkung Xu, who'd been up his mast 7 times. But if there was one message that was coming through loud and clear from the fleet, it was that after 68 days, the race was taking a big physical toll.
昨天半夜的时候，在一阵强风当中，我摔了一跤，然后把我的右肩膀又给拉伤了，本来就有伤，所以现在就是雪上加霜。今天真的非常的痛苦。现在这个船的状况非常好，但是人的状态现在还没有保持到100%了。但这种伤病一直在困扰着我在船上的行动，因为尤其要驾驶像我们这样的60尺的大赛船，船上的每一个东西都非常的重，所以都特别的困难。今天正好风开始减弱，然后我们今天开始换成了船上的最大的船帆。然后正好今天这个肩膀又有伤，所以今天的工作就格外的吃力，一直折腾了接近2个小时的工作才完成，把Jeep Top 撤了下来，把0号帆升上去，然后又把2号帆给收起来，然后把主帆升起了满帆。所以今天真是 busy day， 忙碌的一天啊！ 但是现在天气开始越来越好了，哇！但我的肩膀实在是，现在真的是一个大问题。现在比赛结束以后，真的要回家好好养养伤了。肩膀的伤实在太痛了，我已经扛不住了，我必须要吃止痛药了。说这个药一天只能吃1粒，我现在这个肩膀就拿这个水瓶子都疼，都拿不起来。这种高强度的工作让我的身体疼痛不堪，然后我现在身上基本上没有一个好的关节，肩关节在痛，肘关节在痛，手指各个关节都在痛，然后因为右肩膀带来的伤，导致左肩膀就要有更多的代偿，所以现在左肩膀也开始发炎疼痛。我有时候感觉自己就像废了一样。其实我挺难接受这样的自己的。在以前我自己做运动员的时候，年轻的时候身体都非常的强壮，然后这几年感觉身体越来越脆弱，还挺沮丧的，真的就觉得各个关节总是在出问题，不知道为什么，太脆弱了，实在是太脆弱了。我不能接受这样的自己。记录一下这个时刻吧，可能未来几天以后我可能会忘记这个沮丧的时刻，利用摄像机来记录一下吧。
Tired bodies and broken boats. Since rounding Cape Horn, the final stage of the race has proved to be more challenging than many had expected. And while they were all still pushing hard, these will feel like the longest miles of the race. And as they focus on the final stretch, many will doubtless be echoing the thoughts of Boris Herrmann.
So obviously your Vendée Globe has changed a little bit. It's now a case of getting home safe and sound, I believe.
That's exactly that, Andy. Just get home, and that's fine with me. I have accepted that fact. Yeah, let's see. I'm just keen to get home. That's all.
So on Thursday morning, the leaderboard looks like this. With the podium now complete, 4th place looks likely to go to Jérémie Beyou on Charal, who's expected to finish on Friday morning. Behind him, it's a duel between Paul Meilhat and Nicolas Lundven. Having dropped to 7th, Sam Goodchild is doing his best to hang on to his place, as his teammate Thomas Royal and Justin Metro put the pressure on from behind. After that, it's a big gap to the next group, which includes Benjamin Dutrou, Clarice Kremer, Sam Davies and Boris Herrmann. 1,000 miles further back is the next group, led by Romain Attanasio. Benjamin Ferret is the current leader of the daggerboard boats, with Tanguy Le Turquet still hot on his heels. Meanwhile, bringing up the rear, Denis van Winberg has just rounded Cape Horn, with Fabrice Amadeo just ahead. So, while the winners might be in and the podium complete, with 31 boats still out on the course, the Vendée Globe is still far from over.